Welcome, friends and neighbors. Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to Should I Watch That? I am Janet.
And I'm Rachel, your not so friendly neighbor. Just kidding.
Rachel is the most unfriendly person ever. I don't even know
Super
how we
unfriendly.
can even do this podcast together. She's so unfriendly.
Nope. I just have so many cats and wildflowers and hummingbirds.
You might as well be like a
busy.
fairy or something.
I basically am.
Yeah, you are.
Anyways,
what are we talking about today?
Well, today we are talking about the Apple TV show called Smoke. Dun, dun,
Dun,
dun.
dun, dun.
It debuted in June 2025. It is set in the Pacific Northwest, and the series follows Dave Goodson, played by Taron Egerton. Is it Egerton or Edgerton? I don't know.
I think it's Edgerton. In
Okay,
my mind,
Edgerton.
it's always been Edgerton, but I can't be sure.
But there's no D.
Edgerton.
Whatever.
Edgerton?
Okay. Anyways,
I don't know.
He's an arson investigator, and he reluctantly partners with police detective Michelle Calderon to stop two serial arsonists. And Michelle Calderon is played by Journey Smollett, who we just looked up, is in fact the sister to Jussie Smollett, that man that faked his own hate crime attack. So, nice little tidbit there. Anyways, far from a standard procedural, Smoke delves into the psychological undercurrent of guilt, identity, and obsession, framing fire as both a literal and metaphorical force that ignites internal conflicts.
Mm-hmm. Or, bad things happen when you set fires. Get some counseling.
Oh, that's good.
That's my summary.
Okay. That's a better summary.
All right.
I
need to start with the fact that
Okay.
this show was written by Dennis Lehane. And
Yes.
I'm going to educate y'all in case you don't know who Dennis Lehane is.
Tell us.
So he has a series of books about two private investigators who work together in Boston. There's like 6 books of the series. I read them, years and years ago. Such good books. He's a great writer. He is also the author of a book called Shutter Island. They made a movie
He wrote
with
that?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Allow me to take you back to
Yes.
maybe the mid-2000s. I was traveling as a CRA. I'm in an airport one night, waiting for my flight, blah, blah, blah. I have been reading this book, a physical book. This was back in the 1800s, like before we had a Kindle or anything.
I still have lots of physical books,
okay.
but continue.
I feel better. Thank you. So I was reading this physical book, sitting there surrounded by strangers. I got to the end of the book, the big twist at the end, lost my mind, finished the book, and then just sat there, not knowing anybody. I couldn't turn to a stranger and go, "Oh my God, do you realize what just happened at the end of this book?" Because they'd be like, "Stranger danger, security," and then I would have missed my flight. Anyway.
Insane asylum, lobotomy.
Yes, straitjacket, all of the things. Anyway, the book was just fantastic. And they did a really good job when they transitioned that to the big screen. Dennis Lehane also wrote Mystic River. That was a book that Kevin Bacon and some others were in the movie. Anyway, I haven't Twittered in a long time, and I know it's called X now, which is just the stupidest thing in the world. I actually reactivated my Twitter account because it was the only way I knew I could get to Dennis Lehane and thank him for all the books he's written and thank him for this series. And I haven't checked back to see if he's responded to me or not yet. Anyway, so all of that to say, if you like to read, if you like a good mystery kind of procedural with some really interesting characters, may I suggest you read anything that he's written. Specifically, the series of books about the two investigators, Patrick Kinsey and Angela Gennaro. Really good books.
Good to know.
You're welcome. Okay.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. I'll step down off my
So,
soapbox.
no, I loved
Mm,
that. Thank you for
You're
that
welcome.
background. So, he's obviously a good author.
Mhm.
Thank you for that,
Mhm.
sir.
Mhm.
Um, so the series is also inspired by the real life crimes of serial arsonist John Leonard Orr. And it was initially explored in the true crime podcast, called Firebug.
I want
So now
to
I guess I got to
I
go.
know. I wanna listen to that.
I need to go listen to that.
Definitely.
Lehane reframes the story to focus less on procedural accuracy and more on morally ambiguous characters and emotional intensity. And I will say there was definitely a lot of emotional intensity in the show.
Oh my goodness. I mean, for usually, if you have, like that main storyline,
Mm-hmm.
you have several characters who are really the pivotal characters. Um,
Correct.
in this one, I feel like there were almost 3 very strong storylines happening at the same time. That would be
Uh-huh.
Arsonist 1, Arsonist 2, and then
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Calderon's character, because she had a
Yes.
past that was really jacked up. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the way the 3 of those were woven together was done pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't know how, like,
Yeah.
spoiler. I think the biggest spoiler in this, I don't know that we should give that away,
No.
because
No,
that
no, 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 no.
was a little surprising to me, and I don't usually get surprised. So, yeah.
No, I don't think we should spoil the ending. But there's definitely a lot to talk about.
Mhm.
I think okay,
Yeah.
one of my kind of favorite themes that played out through this show and sort of plays into the twist that we're not talking about.
Mhm.
The surprise ending. Um so well should we say Dave Goodson's reveal? I guess it's not much of a reveal.
Mhm.
Dave Goodson, should we not?
I don't I was kinda surprised.
Were you?
I don't know.
No, about the
I mean, yes and
uh,
no, I guess.
oh, okay.
But maybe we just
Okay, we won't
proceed,
say that. All right.
spoiler alert.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Do you, okay. Spoiler alert, Dave
Spoiler.
Goodson, the arson investigator, turns out to be one of the serial arsonists.
Yes.
And you learn that in like episode 3. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
know. I
early.
guess so.
Okay, so that's a spoiler. Sorry everybody. He's one of the arsonists. Bleh.
Yeah, and I was
Um
just getting to know him, because at first you're sort of like, "Oh, he's kind of a happy-go-lucky guy, and he knows what he's talking about." And then in the second episode, you're like, yeah, something's a little
Something's going
off,
on.
but, he's
Mhm.
just cocky, whatever." And then the third episode, you're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, damn." Anyway,
Yeah.
so feel free to say that when you watch the third episode. Be like, Janet said it. "Oh, damn."
Yeah. Yeah. Um yeah, so I thought Taryn did an incredible job acting wise.
Mhm.
Because Janet's right. This character does come off as extremely cocky. I mean, he talks about himself um very highly.
Mhm.
he he thinks of himself extremely highly.
Mhm.
Um and he starts writing this book that's based basically on himself and fires that he set,
Mhm.
along with the other arsonists that they are investigating in the show, or in the what? Yes, in the show. What am I saying? But everyone keeps calling him, like, he walks around with all this bravado,
Mhm.
but he keeps being referred to as a mediocre man.
Mhm.
And he fucking hates that shit.
Yes.
And I loved every part of it. I was like, yes. And I will say, and how the end played out, this all kind of wraps together, okay, in my mind. And if I'm saying it correctly, hopefully, like, what my take home from his character, and of course, there's lots more to talk about related to him, but just an overall synopsis that I came up with was me personally, as a lady who is single and dating as an adult. I meet so many men that inflate themselves to be more, uh, to be better than they are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's exactly what his character was portraying. Like this man that was so amazing at his job, and he was good at his job, but like people called him out, like, hey, these things, we saw you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like there were some points there. Um, and And I was like, "Man, this is so true for like culturally."
Uh-huh.
And you also see it online, like all these manosphere men, all these people, all these men with podcasts and on Twitter and stuff that, inflate their importance.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I got from him. Like this like gorilla walking around, bro, I'm so big and strong and cool and great and amazing. And every chance somebody gets, they're knocking him down a peg. And
It's
I don't know. You say something.
it's it's the difference between confidence and cockiness, right?
Mhm.
Uh, he was trying so hard to
So
prove to
hard.
the world that he was something that he wanted to be, but he just
Yes.
couldn't get there.
Correct.
Couldn't get there. And it's like you said, like it wasn't long before people figured out. Well, even before Michelle shows up to support with the
Mhm.
investigations. Um, there's another character who shows up a few episodes later, John Leguizamo. I don't know if everyone's familiar with him. He's a great actor. Um,
Great
he
actor.
plays Dave Goodson's former partner, and like immediately he's totally setting these fires. Like it's clear. How could you not see he's setting these
Yes.
fires? And
Yes.
he's so transparent to everyone around him, but he doesn't see. And Dave Goodson's character, he's so transparent to everybody but himself, right?
Correct.
He's built himself up so highly in his head that his own perception of himself is just out of control.
Yes.
Yeah,
Agreed.
agreed. And surprise, Greg Kinnear is in this. He plays Harvey,
Yes.
who is Dave Goodson's boss. And the best thing I remember him from is You've Got Mail.
Mhm.
Remember way back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah,
that I
yeah.
remember that movie.
Anyway, he was good in that. Anyway, um, so so we have Dave's storyline, we have Michelle's storyline and the trauma that she experienced as a child, and then
Yes.
we have the other arsonist, and it takes a long time to understand his trauma to see understand why he's setting fires. Um, but like it was a lot, but it was woven in very carefully and very well.
Yeah, I think yeah, they really did. And so the other arsonist, his name in the show is Freddie Fasano, and I'm gonna say the actor's name, and I apologize if I mispronounce any of this, but it's Natari Guma Mabo Mimwene, I
Very
think,
good. I
maybe.
couldn't help you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Um, so in the movie, in the show, I'm sorry, he's a fry cook. And I thought that actor did such a good freaking job. I
Mhm.
mean, he's socially awkward, he's a little out there, he's not very smart. And just kind of going through not only his background, but to see his moods and the changes in his moods and like kind of the reasoning behind why he's setting these fires and things. Like, um, I just thought that they did a great job with his character, more so than Dave Goodson. Like, the
Mhm.
difference was very interesting, I think. Do you want to continue on that thought? Because I don't know if I'm saying it
Yeah, I
well.
get it because you have 2 people kind of doing the same thing, just slightly different
Yeah.
ways, but the motivations are so different, and I
Yeah.
guess you could say the same thing with any crime, if you murder somebody, is it in self-defense, or is it because they stole something from you, or is it to take all their money? Like, there's always a different motivation for the crime, but to watch it play out, it with arson was very interesting because that's not a very common theme to movies and TV shows, in my opinion. It's always more
That's
about
true.
murder or, you know, affairs or things like that. It's hardly ever about fire. And
That's true.
I was also happy to see one of the customers at what was the name of that chicken place? Where Freddie worked, but
Oh,
yeah, but a woman who,
Coops.
yes, a woman who came in frequently to order. She played Tara's crazy mom from True Blood. I don't know if you that
Yes.
rings a bell.
Yes, I did see.
Anyway,
Of course I did. Of
of
course.
course, but yeah, she did a good job. But then to see it
Mhm.
kind of come full circle back to her was very interesting. Um, but yeah, his journey was painful to watch. It was so
Yes.
painful for me to watch because coming from having worked in a corporate setting for so long, to see him interview for that manager's position, and the kinds of things they
Mm.
want you to say, how I'm motivated and
Yeah.
blah 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 and all this stuff, and
Mhm.
he just sat there convinced he had the right answer, and he was
Yeah.
like, "You make the
He
customers happy." I'm like, "Well, there's about 75 other things you could say to go along with that," and he was just
Yeah.
convinced that he was gonna be the next manager, and he just sat
Yeah.
there refreshing his phone, waiting on the email to come through, refreshing, refreshing, and, like, you just see that breaking point,
Yeah.
'cause you always hear about that on true crime and something like, what was the trigger or what was the event that put them over the edge, and that was interesting to see that play out and what he did
Mhm.
in response
Oh
with
my
another
gosh,
fire.
yes, what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of to kind of pivot a little bit to Michelle Calderon,
Mhm.
Detective Michelle Calderon, played by Journey Smollett. Her character was very interesting. I know we kind of touched on like the backstory that they gave her character. It was very like she had a traumatic childhood, an experience with her mother, and there's like this whole other thing with her mother playing out, and then she's got this brother who's kind of, um, I don't know. He's like running cockfighting rings and like other seedy underbelly kind of things, but like
Well, and
I don't know.
the way he treats her sometimes, he's just kind of an asshole to be.
He's kind of an asshole, but he's always got her back.
Mhm.
Like, um, I don't know. And her character, it kept going back to like that experience she had with her mother. And yes, it was traumatic and traumatizing and all that. And like they were trying to connect that to like how she is as an adult. Like
Mhm.
she was a Marine and she basically trained to be a very good killer.
Mhm.
And that kind of plays out in the show. And there's some moral grayness and some things that she does that's like, "Holy shit, girl." Like, what did you just do? And then to see her like try to fix the situations she gets herself into. So I thought her character was interesting in a lot of ways.
I saw her.
But also
Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
No,
No, you
I
go.
I saw her as she's very angry.
Yes.
Angry at even when she's trying to be normal, she's still angry at everybody. And
Yeah.
she, like, there's got to be some PTSD going on, but it's almost like she had a death wish. Like she always pushed the boundaries. Like there was
Yeah.
part of her that's like, if I die, then so be it. There was no strong preservation of life, it seemed. Like she was really troubled. She was really troubled.
She was extremely troubled. She needed to go into intensive therapy.
Mhm. Well, and that
That woman is
and that
crazy.
one scene with the therapist, and she was asking her
Oh, yeah.
questions, and you could tell she understood. She just didn't want to face it and didn't want to say things out loud that would
Yeah.
probably get her, you know, put on leave or something from her job. So yeah,
Institutionalized. Yeah.
along with the straitjacket. Yep. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So the other thing that was interesting to me was Dave's character with his wife and his stepson. Because it
Yes.
kind of starts out, you feel like, well, they're really working at this. They're kind of doing their thing, but it's again,
Yeah.
you see it devolve.
Correct.
Episode by episode, it just gets a little worse, and then eventually, she and her stepson see what he really is. He lashes out at the kid one time, and they're both like, "Oh, damn!" Like, this is who we're living with. He's not who we thought he was.
Right. But the wife even says later to Michelle, to his partner, like, there have been signs all along, and
Mhm.
she kind of talks about a few things. But I thought that the son is like a teenage boy, like
Mhm.
in, I don't know, high school, I would say. Um, and he says at one point in the show, and I can't remember who he said it to. It might have been to Michelle when Michelle took him home. The time that Dave forgot to pick him up from track practice or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, and she's asking him questions about Dave because they suspect him of the arson stuff. And the kid says, nobody knows the real Dave,
Mhm.
or nobody really knows Dave, something like that. And I was like, you know what? This teenage kid, he knows more. He has a better insight on this man than everybody
Right,
else.
right.
Like, he just says it so plainly. And that was like, oh my gosh, he's so right. Nobody knows Dave. Um, and I just thought that was interesting.
So, one thing I thought that seemed a little unnecessary, but I don't know, like, maybe it was part of the true story and they wanted to keep it authentic, was just the whole dynamic between the stepson and his real dad, and I mean, I guess it kind of played in that Dave wasn't really being a good stepdad. He wasn't really there for his wife and his stepson. But I don't know, there were just some scenes kinda back and forth with the real dad that didn't seem to be
Relevant?
it didn't seem to bring anything to the whole story. But I guess, again, maybe they
Agreed.
just wanted to keep it real to what actually happened. I don't know.
I guess. I mean, I thought what was interesting with his relationship with his wife and stepson was like he made it seem like he was trying so hard.
Mhm.
Kind of like you said, he cooked dinner, he put on the smile, but you could tell it was an act.
Mhm.
You could tell it was so disingenuous, and he's like sits down with the stepson. He's like, "I want to try," but then he forgets to pick him up from practice, like because he's working on his stupid book,
Mhm.
which his wife is a librarian and tells him, "Your book sucks,"
Yeah.
and I would know because I'm a librarian. That when she said that to him, I was like, "Yes, girl." Like, your book
Sucks.
sucks. Anyways, so he's like so consumed and feeling so self-important and has such an inflated sense of ego or like self that he like plays this character to everyone.
Mhm.
He like has but to him it's the real him because, in the end he says that's not me.
Mhm.
And that's not giving anything away, everybody,
Right,
okay? I'm
right.
just saying. like,
Yeah, it's all about
it's
perception, and
correct.
because of his perception, he's got this swagger and cockiness that he doesn't
Deserve.
deserve, I guess is the right word. Yeah. That
Or isn't actually true
right.
because he's not actually
All that.
any of those
Yeah.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's, like, stuff with the ex-wife. I don't know. It's just like, what's the thing with the ex-wife?
That
Like, Dave has this ex-wife,
mhm.
and he goes to this conference, and I didn't realize that she was the ex-wife at the conference. And then later it turns out she's the ex-wife, and, like, there's this weird dynamic between them, and she, like, gives him the heads up that they're looking for him at one point, and I'm like, what is her motivation to, like, help him out when he is this, like, freaking psychopath, you know?
Mhm. I I was the only thing I can figure out with that bringing that relationship into the story, there's a scene when they're trying to make the sweet love, and she brings something up, and he suddenly can't perform, and she's like, "Just the mere mention of that is gonna cause this problem." So, again, it's like there's so much in his head that
Mhm.
if you say something to, like, maybe quickly rattle that perception of himself, then suddenly he's not the man he thought he was, or he can't perform, or he can't do what needs to be done, and it showed that she knows him, like, she sees the real him. She sees
Mhm.
all of that, and she's willing to still kind of flirt around it, but she doesn't wanna be committed to him because she knows him and she knows what he's really like.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But I don't know because there's also a scene with his, like, current in the show wife,
Mhm.
uh, where he, like, tries to get randy with her, and she's like, "Well, go get your pill," and he's like, "I don't need the pill
Mhm.
right now." Like, so he obviously has an impotence issue,
Mhm.
and then later on, he gets this big hard on when there's the fire or what or he put no, when he okay, I won't say it, but
Mhm.
there's a a later a time when there's a fire and he, like, helps, he, like, is the hero in the situation, and he gets this big ol' hard on, and
Mhm.
everyone sees it, and it's like his ability to perform is directly related to this sense of self that he has that is not real.
Exactly. And
So,
that it's
it
all woven into the fact that he is an arsonist. Like he can, the flick of a finger to toss
yeah,
this little device and he can burn down whatever he wants to. Like it gives him
yeah,
yeah, that's where he can prove himself, as it were.
mhm, yeah. It was, there was a lot.
It
It
was
was
a
a
whole
lot.
lot. But I started watching it when they released the first episode, and it
Mhm.
made me so angry. It, like, took me back years ago where you had to wait and watch something once a week when it came out,
Oh.
as
Mhm.
opposed to, "Here's 10 episodes of something, binge your life away over the weekend." And every time, like,
Oh.
it got to the end of the episode, I was like, What? Where's the rest?" Now I have to wait a week. Oh my god. Could
Mm.
I put it off 2 weeks so I can at least watch 2 episodes back to back? Like, to me, it was one of those, like, you're waiting to see what happens next, not just,
Yeah.
"Oh, look what happened." And to me, like,
Yeah.
a show like this is rare at least for me, to
Mhm.
want to know what's getting ready to happen, to be on the edge of my seat, as it were.
So, Janet, so should our listeners watch that then?
Oh my god. Start it as soon as you hear this podcast. Start it before we even sign off on this podcast. It was fantastic. The only thing I didn't really like was the fact that Taron Egger, um, he had an American accent, and I think it
Yeah.
did something to, like, flatten it a little bit. If he had had his, like, normal accent, I think it would have been a lot better
Mhm.
for me. because I knew he was pretending with the accent and I didn't quite buy it every time. But that's the only thing that bothered me. Fantastic show.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Rachel, should I watch that?
No.
Oh,
No, I didn't like it.
color me surprised. Really?
Are you?
Yes.
I did not like it. I had to fight through the first couple episodes. I was like, what are they?
No.
Yeah, I was like, what are they doing?
Really?
What is Taryn doing? I will say I was redeemed for the last couple of episodes. The acting was amazing. Like just Taryn's like ability to like show the different facets of the character I thought were really good. But I think the Michelle Calderon character, I don't know, like that, that last episode, that the fire and her and him, I just couldn't, I don't know. There was just, it wasn't my thing.
Really? And I feel like I was like, you should watch this show. And you're like, oh, okay. That surprises me. I don't know why. Maybe because I liked
Really?
it so
It was,
much.
hey, I mean, I've liked things that you haven't liked.
I
so.
know. But it's like Dennis Lehane. Like, oh my God. Anyway, y'all should have
I
seen
know.
my face
No,
when
no,
she
no.
said no. I was like, what?
Yeah, she was very surprised. I mean, I will say the ending was good. And the whole thing really played into like the psychological stuff that I love. But I don't know. There was, I can't even really explain it properly, but I was kind of annoyed. I don't know why. I don't even know. I was just like kind of annoyed by some of the characters. I was like, what are you doing? This is so dumb.
Well, and I have to admit, it
So,
was a little bit of a slow burn.
mhm.
Because it's about the. Yeah, I mean, like it
Yeah, I get it.
started a little slow, but
It sure
it was
did.
worth it. Okay. Look at us.
So that,
Yes.
look at us
I
disagreeing again.
know. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
So, I don't know. Don't burn your popcorn, okay, when you're popping it. Nobody likes smoky burnt popcorn, everybody.
Nobody likes it. No.
It's up to you whether you listen to me or Janet on Smoke.
Because Janet's
released in June.
Janet's right. So
2025.
we'll just wrap that one up.
Janet's not right. Don't
Janet's
watch
right.
it. Okay,
Watch it.
everybody. And join us next time for another episode of Should I Watch That? And always listen to Rachel, never listen to Janet.
Always listen to Janet because she makes best choices in life. Okay. Hey, Rachel, roll the credits. Goodbye.
Okay, bye.
This episode was produced by Ryan Wyrick.
Follow us on Instagram at Should I Watch That 25 and on Facebook at Should I Watch That.
Email us at shouldIwatchthat25@gmail.com.
Like, follow, and review wherever you listen to us.
Or wherever you cast your pods. Thanks.
Thank you.